Hello and welcome to the United Stand after the brilliant result on Saturday with us beating Sunderland 3-0 and going straight to the top of the league. We'll just jump straight into it. Kev, you were at the game. How did the crowd react to the win? Is there a lot of positivity in Old Trafford at the moment? And who was your standout player from the match yesterday?
Yeah, there would do. Of course, there was positivity. If anything, I think before that game, if Louis van Gaal needed any kind of team talk, I mean, he only had to look at the game that was played before us, especially with City losing that game. He literally just had to say to that team, "Listen, you do the business and win today, and you're top of the league," and that's exactly what happened. Great atmosphere. Obviously, we had to wait a while for the breakthrough through to come. But we did the business, and like I said in midweek, Sunderland aren't a great team, and they proved to be that. Once we got the breakthrough goal, I don't think we were ever in doubt about the scoreline. Standout players, I think Mata was absolutely brilliant. Martial, considering he didn't actually score a goal as a centre forward, I thought his all-round play was just top notch. Absolutely brilliant again, holding the ball up, bringing other players into play. And although Sunderland didn't have many chances, I'm going to mention David De Gea again, because there's a few saves he made there yesterday where I firmly believe if it was a few weeks ago and we had that clown Romero in net, it could have been a different story. I'm not saying Sunderland had that many chances, but a few very good saves, low down with his feet. And like I said the other week, Dave saves, great result, top of the league. You can't ask for much more than that. A couple of weeks ago, you just wouldn't have seen this coming, but we're sat on the perch now, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was always going to be hard going against Sunderland because they did exactly what I knew they would do, exactly what Newcastle did, and just put every single player behind the ball, which was really frustrating. It was just we are so lucky that Memphis got his goal when he did, but we'll touch on him later. Jolty, what did you make of the match? Were you happy with the performance and obviously being top of the league? Do you think we can stay there for the coming games? We have a really hard October, so are you feeling confident? Who was your standout player yesterday?
Uh, I thought we actually played pretty well yesterday. Sunderland came out to stifle the game. That was our game plan all along. You know, they've been playing pretty poorly all season. So for them to come to Old Trafford, we knew it was going to be a tight match. I think the pressure was kind of on us because we knew we would go top of the league if we were going to win. I thought Martial was outstanding. Even though we didn't score a goal, I don't think that matters. I actually think he's playing just an all-round footballer, and I think he's that type of player, kind of like Ronaldo, Rooney, and Messi when they were really younger, who you can just tell is going to be a world-class player. Do I think we can stay at the top of the league? I think a couple of things have got to work in our favour. I think Man City have got to keep imploding. Chelsea have got to keep underperforming and slipping up like Arsenal usually do. Because Mourinho's clearly lost his head and has been listening to Brendan Rodgers' self-help guide to management at the moment. He's been awful. But I think we can stay top of the league. We're not playing that well, but we're still winning, which is the sign of the champions. I think if this continues, it kind of feels like the last season we had with Ferguson, where we didn't have a great team, but we kept winning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't necessarily been that impressive or that exciting to watch yet, but we're winning and getting the 3 points, which is what we said. You can't knock us for being top of the table. And as Kev said, if we would have had De Gea all season, if we'd had Martial all season, then I reckon we would have beat Newcastle for one with Martial. And I think, well, there's no question that De Gea would have saved the two abomination of saves that Romero let in. But Dermot, I don't know if you're there. It looks like you're there, but no picture. But what did you make of yesterday's game?
Yes, you guys can't see me either.
No, but we can
Uh,
hear you.
yeah, I suppose kind of has how the rest of the season has gone. It definitely took us a while to get going, but like you said already, once Memphis got his goal, it kicked us on. Like the second half was completely different to the first. I was very impressed with both Valencia and Darmian at full backs, and I think I've been Rooney's biggest critic, but even Rooney played well. You know, the team as a whole played very well in the second half.
Yeah, I think Rooney, he wasn't spectacular, but he got his first goal with a huge thank you to Martial booting it off his knee. But hopefully that brings him confidence. I think that was his best performance, maybe not his best performance of the season because he did get that hat-trick against Bruges, but he was looking a lot more confident. And it always does take Rooney a few games to get into things. But Kev, do you think that this side really is capable of winning the league? Obviously, we're top at the moment. Chelsea doing horrifically. City have hit a bad run of form of getting spanked by West Ham, spanked by Spurs, which just shows that if they lose one or two key players, like yesterday, they had no company, no heart, no silver, and they just absolutely fell apart and got completely dominated. But do you think that we're one injury away, such as the Smalling, Martial, etc., from falling apart, or heaven forbid, De Gea?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you've just said there. Actually, if we can keep everybody fit this season, the way we're rolling at the moment, there's no reason why we can't give it a title charge. But the main thing is if we do get injuries to key players, and you've just touched on Man City there, obviously yesterday. The injuries that they've had has obviously had a big effect on the team, and when you have big name players that can't make the first team, these kind of results happen, and that's when you go through a bad patch. And touch wood, if for me, we're putting pressure. We're not putting pressure on him, but we were talking about it midweek again. Martial there for me yesterday was the main man because his movement, we've not seen that in a long time, and his movement brings midfielders into the game. He's pulling defenders all over the place, and it's really good to see. But again, yeah, of course we can challenge for the league. I'm not going to get too carried away like the Scousers last season. I don't think we should start like greeting the team bus and singing we're going to win the league. Obviously a bit early for that, but we can certainly push for the title this season purely because Chelsea have been awful. Yeah, City have hit a bit of a bad patch, and I think Arsenal as well. I think we can get at them next Sunday. Loads of points to play for. I'm sure we'll slip up, but at the end of the day, we're top of the league, and that's all we can take for it. It's confidence. All these players now know that they're top, and if we keep digging in and getting results, why not? But like I say, I'm not getting carried away because at the start of the season, I always said this season, I think it's all about finishing top four, and it might sound slightly negative, but let's see what happens now because we're top, and we're the team to beat at the minute because we are top. So yeah, so really happy with it anyway.
Yeah, and I think, like I touched on previously about us having a really hard October, and lots of rival fans have been saying, "Oh, United will fall apart when they get," because we haven't faced a good team yet. We beat Spurs and Liverpool, and people might not class them as good. But anyway, but people forget that last season, I think that we've improved a lot already since last season. But last season we were top of the head-to-head table between the top 6 teams. So it's not like we're incapable of beating all these top teams. But anyway, to get to some of you guys' comments, Dan's Game was saying, "I love seeing City fail." My Lord 01 saying, "After Chelsea are relegated, we'll only have to play them in the occasional cup game." Hakeem Dawodu saying, "Let's stop being negative too. Rooney 5 goals in 9 games isn't bad," and yeah, it's not bad. And Stuart Wilson said, which we're going to touch on this later about Martial, is that Martial will destroy Arsenal if they come onto us, and I completely agree. He's going to be able to use his pace and his dribbling to great effect against Arsenal, because I always thought that Sunderland might be a bit of a problem for him, because I just knew that they would sit so deep and that he wouldn't have the space to exploit. And even Van Gaal said it in his post-match interview, even after we scored against them, they still didn't even try to come at us. But Drawty, do you think that this side is capable of winning the league, or do you, like Kev, think that just one injury, because we haven't really got that much squad depth, especially with Shaw basically out for the season? He might make it back in March, but left back we're pretty well stocked, but up front is where I really worry.
I think the fact that we got Martial now is a huge bonus to the team. I think now that he and Rooney work well together, it allows Rooney to play his own game. As for the title, I think we can do it. I think I had my doubts before, but having watched this weekend and seeing how terrible Chelsea are, City looked pretty much like last season, where they were all over the shop. Where's the challenge going to come from? Arsenal, they always fall away. Then you've got Liverpool, who, again, you can't see them doing anything. Sturridge is going to get injured. I think what the key is, and Kev is absolutely right, we're one injury away from having a problem. If we can keep the squad fit, then I think we got a chance at the title. But we are such a sparse team where I said, in an earlier video, we need a couple of extra players in to make this squad give it a lot more depth. If we keep that same 11 and we just chop and change a bit, yeah, we can do it. But I think at the moment we're still an experienced team, and players like Martial and Memphis can only get better. And I think if we do win the league this year, the team's going to have so much confidence moving forward. There's going to be no stopping us.
Dermot, we can actually see you now. So, what do you make of our league aspirations? Are you feeling confident?
I'm feeling confident. It's kind of a weird thing. I think it might be a blessing in disguise if we get knocked out of the League Cup at some stage in the next couple of rounds, because like we said, the squad is very small, it's tiny basically. If we do get one injury either to Martial or Rooney or Masha, we are very short unless we get a couple of players in January. Like I said, if we keep the squad fit and maybe can not go too far in the cups, we might be able to manage winning the Premier League and maybe the last 16 of the Champions League, possibly last 8.
Yeah, I hope so. I think also our football's more suited to the Champions League than it is the Premier League, but it seems to be working in the Premier League as well, so no complaints. We saw against Sunderland us use Darmian as a left back due to the injuries of Rojo and arguably McNair. He did play there a lot for Torino, but it also saw Valencia coming back in at right back, which I know a lot of people are against, and I think he does work hard and he is really fast and stuff, but I just don't think he offers absolutely anything going forward because he's really predictable in what he does, and he isn't that good at putting crosses in, although he did put one good cross in for Martial yesterday. But do you see them as our long-term fullbacks, Kev, or what would be your ideal to left back and right back?
I don't see it as a long-term thing. I mean, the fact that Darmian played left back yesterday, it certainly gives us an option. I thought he did really well. But like you say, on the other side, then you've got Valencia, and at the same time, God love him, you know what I mean? He tries, but he just, I don't know what it is with Valencia. They're that sort of 4 or 5 seasons, whether he's just been played out of position or what it is, again, a confidence thing. He's certainly not for me, a right back. And the only reason why he is playing that right back role at the minute is purely because we got injuries. I would purely suspect that the minute that Rojo is back and firing, that he will play left back. Darmian switches back over to the right side. And at the minute, that centre-back pairing of Chris Smalling and Daley Blind is just untouchable. Barring any injuries, you just cannot separate them. And the way that Daley Blind, I think I've said it before, but I really have to take my hat off to him, because when we spoke pre-season before the Tottenham game, I had my concerns about Daley Blind playing centre-back. I know he played a couple of games in pre-season, but I really did fear that when we faced Tottenham on the first day that Harry Kane was really going to bully him, basically. And Daley Blind, fair play to the man, because he's been absolutely sensational. And for somebody who's so good on the ball, the passes that he's played as well, I think that just adds an extra dimension. That pass he played through yesterday, that just shows he's obviously played that midfield role before, but he's got that in his locker, and it's just something different for a centre half to be able to pick a pass like that. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So I think once with the injuries or the injured sort of people start coming back, players, I just don't see that right back position being Valencia's at all. He's not somebody I would choose if I was in charge anyway.
Yeah, like you said, he does try, and it seems crazy about how he is a winger, so offense should really be his best quality about him. But someone said it earlier, and it is kind of true, that since he broke his foot in that game years ago, that he just hasn't been the same offensively. But What about you, Jolty? Are you confident with Valencia and Darmian as our fullbacks, or do you think once Rojo's fully fit that he'll come straight back in at left back and Darmian will be right back? Because I've read in the paper, so you can take it with a pinch of salt, that apparently Rojo and Van Gaal have fallen out yet again because apparently Rojo didn't tell him that he was injured against Southampton over that win, which I guess because it was his first season back, he was really wanting to cement the left back slot as his own.
I think with Valencia, he goes down far too easily. Every time he gets tackled or gets anywhere near the box at pace, basically it looks like he's got rickets and falls down. He's not the same player he used to be. When he was at Wigan, he was attacking, but now he's joined United. I don't know, the last couple of seasons, he's just not the same player. He goes down like Tom Daly on a Cumberland sausage. It just is unreal how many times he gets knocked off the ball. I personally wouldn't have him anywhere near the bench. I don't think Valencia adds anything now. Every time I watch him, he's so frustrating to watch. He just doesn't do anything. He doesn't get his crosses in anymore, doesn't beat his man off the ball, doesn't go to the byline. Honestly, it pisses me off so much watching Valencia. Darmian, fantastic player. Pace, beats his man, gets to the byline, gets the balls in. Valencia does none of that. I'd rather have Ashley Young operating at a fullback than Valencia. And I think, like you said, we're stocked up on left backs. We're okay there, and Kev's absolutely right. We got Smalling and Blind at centre back, so we've got a really good defensive pairing. But Valencia, I wouldn't have him anywhere near the team at the moment. I don't think he adds anything. No.
Yeah, the Ashley Young theory is actually quite a good one because I was thinking about that for Sunderland. I just knew, like I said, that they wouldn't attack us the entire game. So I was thinking that maybe we should be starting to just play Ashley Young against, maybe not against the better teams, and maybe Valencia would be useful there for his defensive abilities. But against teams at home, the likes of Sunderland, that we just need the attacking threat. So we may as well just play Ashley Young at left back, and then you have Memphis and Ashley Young as basically two left wingers against these pub teams. But what about you, Dermot? Who do you see as our fullbacks for the season until Shaw's back? Because obviously once Shaw's back, it'll be Darmian and Shaw.
I suppose just a few remarks on Valencia. I don't think he offers anything in the attacking sense anymore, which, like we said, as a winger, is a bit ridiculous. But I don't think he's that bad defensively. He hasn't made many obvious mistakes. I think the game against Arsenal last year was one obvious mistake, but beyond that, he doesn't make too many mistakes. But still, I would prefer to have Matthew Darmian at right back, just because he has played there all last season or all this season, and we want to keep as much of the defence the same all season. Because we know, like, the longer you keep a defence together, the better it's going to play, and the less goals you're going to concede. So I don't think any fan wants to see the back five that we had that was solid getting moved around too much. So I definitely like to keep Darmian at right back, and then I think Rojo is more than capable at left back, even if he doesn't have the pace that Shaw has.
Yeah, definitely. That is a really good point about not unsettling the back four, which is why I was happy that when Rojo did actually come in, that we kept Blind at centre back, which I was personally, I hold my hands up, thinking that he wouldn't actually be that good of a centre back. But so far, I mean, against Southampton, he got quite bullied against Pele, but a lot of people do, and his strength isn't going to be one of his strong points. But him on the ball is just absolutely brilliant. He's on like 1 goal, 3 assists or something already, which, for a centre-back after however many games there have been, 6 Premier League games, is absolutely ridiculous. But moving on to a thing that I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about, Anthony Martial. He didn't score yesterday, so he didn't break the record of 3 Premier League, scoring in 3 consecutive games on your Premier League debut. But even without the goal, he was my personal man of the match. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, some of the runs he was making. And he's just absolutely scares the death out of every defender every single time he gets the ball. It's scary to think how good he will become, seeing as he's only 19. But what did you make of his performance yesterday, Kev?
Well, you just said scary. For me, yeah, I'm just going to sum it up in the same kind of word, just frightening. 19 years old, we bought this player that many rival fans have laughed about and saying how much money we've spent on him. He's been thrust into the team, and he started exactly. He basically just hit the ground running. Absolutely sensational. And again, I hate building players up and trying to put too much pressure on him, but I did mention midweek. For me, he's a player that he does not seem fazed by it one bit. I don't think he'll care one bit what the papers are writing about him. The week before, they were saying we'd overspent on him. he'd only scored 9 goals for Monaco. He's this, he's that, and all of a sudden he's hit the ground running in the biggest league in the world, and he's scoring goals, and he looks the part. For me, he can handle himself, and he is the full package. He's got pace, power, he can hold the ball up. He is the full package. I just can't believe how well he's settled into that team, and for me, he can only get better. That's the plain all. He can only get better, and he will get better because he's 19 years old. He's got the attributes to be a Man United great, and just yesterday watching him, like you mentioned earlier, he didn't score a goal, but for a striker to actually play in a game where I think a high percentage would have actually given man of the match, I think that's a huge thing for me. And he got man of the match without scoring a goal because of the players that he brought into the game. Fantastic performance, Alex, I think.
He has been absolutely brilliant. Martial, he's just been so good. And sorry, I was on the phone, Craig. Georgie, what have you made of Martial so far?
I think he can be as good as he wants to be. I think he's that rare type of player that only comes along ever so often. I think he's kind of like Messi, Ronaldo, Rooney when he was 18. I think he's that good. I think he's almost got the finishing of Henry with the cool head of like an experienced Schweinsteiger. He plays with absolutely zero fear. And even though Ben Affleck ruined the film for me, he reminds me of Daredevil. You know, he's the man without fear at the moment. He's so cool. He's like Jean-Claude Van Damme in the Coors adverts. He's just ice cool, slots it into the box. Fantastic. Per Mertesacker, before we play Arsenal, will be having nightmares. He will be giving birth to kittens at the moment, dreaming about Martial running towards him at pace. I mean, he's not going to sleep for this week. But Martial, for me, he reminds me of, he's kind of like Harry Kane. He wants to get involved in the game, but he's more of a natural number 9, and it allows Rooney to drop back into his natural 10 role, which is why I think they work so well together. You know, people are ranting and raving about Hazard, Sanchez, Sterling, but I think we found the one world-class player in the Premier League. And actually, we've got Memphis as well. I think we got 2 of the best potential players to grace the Premier League for years to come. I think he's that good. I think Martial's fantastic.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. He's been brilliant so far. He's just set everyone's expectations, like blew them out of the water. I think it was summed up perfectly when Piers Morgan, who's an Arsenal fan, very avid Arsenal fan, and he loves to stick the boot into United, tweeted the other day saying, yes, Manchester United have got Martial's price completely wrong. They very, very underpaid for him. So it just shows that, and Gary Lineker as well was saying Martial's beginning to look like a bargain. And I'm just happy that he's starting to get credit, because even in the game against PSV when he didn't score, he was absolutely brilliant. In the game against Sunderland when he didn't score, he was absolutely brilliant. I do think we have to be careful, because as young players, they do dip in form. Like, he's doing really good at the moment, but then next month he could be absolutely awful. But the talent is there for everyone to see. But what do you make about it, Dermot?
Frozen, or screen froze. I suppose the only thing I could add about the Martial thing is that, you know, traditionally against Arsenal we have beaten them by counter-attacking football, so I'm beyond excited to see him up against Mertesacker, up against Koscielny, and potentially a slower midfield with players like Arteta. But if you don't mind, I'll just go back to the point about Blind, because I didn't get to finish there. It's just I don't think it's the end of the world that Blind doesn't have the strength. When we think back, the best centre-back partnership that we had Rio with the pace and Amanda Vidic with the strength. So I think we have that now with Smalling and Blind. You know, both centre halves don't need to have all the qualities, as long as they have them as a pair. And that's the whole point of the partnership at the end of the day. A bit off topic, but yeah.
But what do you think about Martial?
Yeah, no, I think Josh down pretty much covered it, like, but just looking forward to seeing him against Mertesacker. It's going to be hopefully hilarious. Like,
yeah,
Arsenal are going to be afraid to come beyond the halfway line.
Yeah, let's hope he plays. What did you make of Rooney's performance, Kev? There was some saying that he was man of the match. I think he had one of his better games that he's had recently, but for me, he definitely wasn't man of the match. Do you think he's on his way back into form?
Not man of the match, nowhere near it for me. But yeah, encouraging. He certainly looked a lot better. For me, again, yesterday, the frustrating thing for being sat in the crowd again was this thing of dropping back into midfield. Now, don't get me wrong, a few of the passes he played were sublime, spraying the ball out left and right, but that's not where I personally want to see Wayne Rooney. I think he needs to be in that number 10 role, and he needs to be a lot closer to Martial. That's the understanding them two need to get between each other now. I think that's where them two need to hook up. But Rooney, yeah, if any fault of him yesterday, it was just dropping too deep at time and leaving Martial a bit isolated. But yeah, it's positive. It's a lot better than what he has been. And like you said earlier, if anything about Rooney, the one thing is when he gets a niggly injury, it always takes him maybe 4 or 5 games to get back into his stride. So as a United fan, all I'm hoping is that he's back on track now. He starts banging in the goals, and if anything, starts supplying what I think now is the main man at United, who is Martial. And I think if he sits in behind him, he just makes Martial's life a hell of a lot easier, because he's going to make them runs, and Rooney can just sit in that hole and basically play them balls through to him. But yeah, just again, don't be dropping into midfield, Rooney, if you're watching. I'm sure he's not, but if he is.
Yeah, so Daryl MUFC Stimpson saying shades of Javier Hernandez when he had his first season at United, but Anthony Martial will probably get better as he wants to fight for his place every single match. Mad Zach saying Memphis, Martial and Pereira could be the next big thing. Carrick fan saying Daryl, Martial has much more to his game than Hernandez, and I completely agree. Even current Hernandez, I think Martial is showing that he's way better than him. Chich had an absolutely awful first touch. He was a good super sub, but nothing more than that for me. Martial looks like he could be the real deal. It may be a bit too early to judge him, but he was the top scoring top scoring teenager in the whole of Europe last season. And I read the stat the other day that for Lyon's reserves, when he played for them before he went to Monaco, he got something like 35 goals in 20-something games, like ridiculous stats. So he is capable of doing it when he is playing up front. Moving on. Dermot, what did you think about Rooney's performance? Do you think that he is on his way back?
Hopefully, but the one thing I would say is when people were calling him man of the match yesterday, I think that was just because he's been so poor recently. Just seeing him put in a half decent performance made him look absolutely unbelievable. Like we said, it does take him a while to get going, but I keep saying it, and I'm not a Rooney hater. He's himself and Ronaldo are the reason I started supporting United, but I just don't think he's ever going to get back to the level he was. And I do think that we should have someone like Ander Herrera in that role. I don't think it might get a little bit better than yesterday, but not a lot more, in my own opinion.
Sorry, I was kind of rattled from that phone call. I'm still trying to sort it out. But Drulty, I realised I forgot you. What did you make of Rooney's performance?
That's fine, man. If you need to talk to Babe Station, that's okay. But to be quite honest, I mean, Rooney, you could say he's on his way back. He kind of looks like the film, Homeward Bound. He's been lost. He's trying to find his way back. He did score a goal with his knee. I don't think he knew much about it, but that's the thing. When you're a striker, you need to be in the right positions, and he was there. You can't score a goal if you're not in the right position, and he did that. And like Kev said, he needs to be dropping back a bit, and I think he needs to give Martial the space to be able to play his game. I wouldn't say he's on his way back. I don't think we'll ever get the old Rooney back. He's 30 next month. And to be honest, he kind of reminds me of that old faithful dog you just keep in the corner. You love it to bits. You want it to do well, but it's just kind of fading away. And at some point, you're going to have to take it out to the hill and shoot it. But it's not time for that yet. It's okay. Rooney will come good this season. Give it a couple of seasons, but after that, then we'll see. But he'll do okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. And with people knocking Wayne Rooney, another person that seems to get knocked very often, which winds me up because he finally got his Premier League goal yesterday, is Memphis Depay. Um, how have you made of his start to Man United life so far, Kev? There seem to be a lot of people that are negative about it, but just expect it for a 21-year-old to just hit the ground running, which is never going to happen. He's our second top goal scorer and I think second top assister as well. So he can't. He's statistically he's not doing that badly, but he does try too hard sometimes, I think, and people do get a bit annoyed about him being selfish. Like yesterday, he could have squared that ball back to Martial to score, but at the same time, if he would have scored, no one would have been complaining about that.
Yeah, I think his main problem is, like you say, he's probably trying too hard, but nothing wrong with that. You know, he's trying to stamp his authority at Man United. He's got the number 7 shirt, which I've said before, he was big enough to take. And I think a lot of people go off the price tag. I mean, if we'd only paid sort of 5 million for him, I bet people would be saying, "Oh, he looks quite a player, you know, a prospect for the future." I think it's the fact we spent 25 million on him that fans probably expect that bit more of him. But again, I've said it before. I think Memphis is a player that's definitely built. He's got speed. He's got the physique to definitely be a Premier League player. No qualms about that at all. And I must say, and I will totally admit this, at 0-0 yesterday, and a couple of minutes before half time, I was actually kind of thinking, I thought, this is not Memphis's day. And it's slight shades of the Liverpool match where he obviously got dragged off at half time. And I was thinking a similar thing. I said to my dad, obviously sat in the stands, I said, I think he's going to go for the straight change here again and get Ashley Young on. Fresh legs, obviously someone who will attack as well. And obviously he got his goal before half time. And I think, again, it's a confidence thing. He stayed on the fit. He got that goal. He stays on the field, and again, like you say, if he takes his goal, then yeah, it's brilliant. But it was brilliant anyway because he took his goal, and again, like I said, I think the understanding between him and Martial looks really good. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the future of Man United, and them two players are very young, and they're going to be hopefully in that team now for the next sort of 10 years. So that they're carrying the torch now. This is our new. The new youngsters that are hopefully going to bring the good days back and bring success to Man United.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like someone said earlier, I forgot your name, sorry, that I already read out about Memphis, Pereira and Martial. The future really does look bright if we can hopefully hang on to them. But Speedbird saying Memphis is going to be a legend. Hakeem Dawood saying Memphis is a winger, it's going to be tougher for him to score. It's completely true, and he's our second top goal scorer. He scored 4 goals in like the first few games, so you can't really blame him for that. And BMW Jacob saying Memphis has his goal now, he'll get going. What did you make of his performance so far, Georgie?
I think Memphis is kind of a bit of a conundrum. You can tell he's going to be a world-class player. He's got the world at his feet. He's got all the skill in the world. He's fantastic. He just frustrates me with his way sometimes. He overplays it. I think it was when he was one-on-one with the keeper, when he was with Martial. And he could have squared it to Martial and got an easy goal, but he went for the shot and he missed. Well, rather, it was saved. And that's just frustrating, but I think that comes with confidence in time. Martial would have buried that, but I think Memphis needs more confidence. I mean, he is built like an ox. He is so powerful, and I think he's the kind of player that we need, and he will complement Martial really well. The two of them together are like M&M. They taste good, you know, they look great, but I think with Memphis, he's trying too hard still. He's not realized that he's got time on his side. He needs to just chill out a bit more and play his own game. He's trying to beat Ronaldo too much. He just needs to cool it a bit. And I think he will do a really fantastic job for the club.
Yeah, and what have you made of Memphis so far, Dermot?
Yeah, like he did have a him still taking players on. still taking shots, even if he does overdo it at times. I hate making the comparison, but it does remind me of Cristiano Ronaldo a lot, just his general attitude. But like we said yesterday, he did overplay it, and I think maybe against the bigger teams like City, like Arsenal, they are coming up, it mightn't do any harm to take him out every now and then and put Ashley Young in, who will make better decisions and will be more consistent. But that's what you'd expect from one player that's around 30 and the other one is 21. If either of you guys have anything else to add about Memphis?
Well, whilst Alex is talking to, I'm guessing Domino's Pizza, because that's what he likes doing in the evenings. We can only speculate. We're not saying that he is ordering a Domino's, everyone. But what would be your favorite type of topping, Kev? I mean, if you were going to put any player on top of a pizza, who would you choose?
Well, at the moment, I mean, the flavour of the month, it's got to be, I mean, the speciality down the road where I am, it's the Martial. I mean, it's tasty, meaty, it's powerful, it tastes absolutely delicious. And, I mean, if you're setting off for work in the morning and you need something to fill yourself up, I mean, that for me, there's nothing like it. The Martial is the main pizza at the moment in Manchester, and that's what everyone's eating, Droughty. I mean, what's it like in your neck of the woods?
Well, I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of too much meat on my pizza. I like it to have a lot more flavor to it, and I think the way we're playing at the moment, we need to add some spice to the team because I don't think we're the complete team yet. I think we've got a good unit squad. I think we're young. I think we can evolve. It's a crying shame that Shaw's injured. I think he's going to be absolutely world class when he does come back to the team. I think it has kind of disrupted the team a little bit of a way because I think he was becoming our best player. When you take your best player out of the team, it gives everyone else a chance to step up to the mark. And maybe in some ways it will help other players come into the fold. I mean, what do you think, Darwin? You might want to unmute your microphone first.
Yeah, no, it's Jeremy, but just to go back to the pizza.
My apologies.
No worries. But just to go back to the pizza, I think we all know the Italians make pizza best, and Jeremy's definitely living up to that standard. He's been consistent, as we said, very meaty, and gets the job done.
So sorry about that, guys. It was just in real life, but I won't have to leave till she's just calling me back in 15 minutes, so I have time. Finally, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Wolfsburg coming up on Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know which one it is. They just got hammered the other day 5-1 against Bayern Munich, with Lewandowski scoring 5 times in 9 minutes, which I think is like something like a world record for the top 5 leagues. It's absolutely unreal. Are you guys feeling confident about it? Obviously, after PSV, we desperately need a win. But Wolfsburg, arguably now, before going into this, we would have been the favourites. But I think Wolfsburg now might be tipped as the favourites to top the group. Kev, do you think that we're in trouble of not topping the group? Because obviously, if we come second, we will get against the likes of Barca or Bayern or someone like
that. You know what? I'm going to start by saying this could be the strangest United stand I've ever done in my life. I honestly, Joe, I can't actually speak at the minute. I can't believe you just come straight to me. Then I was crying with laughter, man. I need to get my head straight. Sorry. Yeah, Wolfsburg on Wednesday. Obviously, I think it's a must-win game because. Oh God! Wait! 1 second. Right, it's a must-win game, obviously, because we lost the first game against PSV, and if anything, we at the end of the day we just need 3 points, and we need to get back basically into the groove of winning the group, which is, I'm pretty sure, before any games were played, we would have been expected of. And as United fans, that group, I think, was definitely achievable to actually go through as group winners. I still think we will, And I think it really does start on Wednesday night. If we beat Wolfsburg and we kick on from then, I think they always say as long as you win all your home games and then on your travels, whatever you do then, obviously you pick up the odd point there as well. I think it definitely sees you through. So the big game again will obviously be the return leg against PSV, but yeah, I'd fully expect United to qualify. And as a United fan, I'm not just saying it with red tinted specs on or anything, but I'd fully expect us to qualify as winners of that group, even though we lost that game to PSV in the opening match.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that we need to win our home games. PSV, I'm not that worried about the game because I think that the players were so deeply affected, and the fans as well, obviously, about what happened to Luke Shaw. I know Memphis got his brilliant goal after Luke Shaw got snapped, but David Blind said after the game that obviously it does affect you. He's not using it as an excuse, but I thought we were comfortably the better team. It was just absolutely ridiculous how we lost that. And I tweeted it at the time. I'm like, I have a complete confidence that we'll put at least 4 past them at Old Trafford. And Wolfsburg are obviously a lot better. Their danger man, I would say, would be Julian Draxler, who's just joined them. But we should be winning this without any difficulties. I don't know where they came in the German league. I would assume it was like 2nd or 3rd, but as I said, Bayern absolutely stuffed them, so they can't be that amazing. But famous last words. Do you know any of their danger men, Drawty, and how are you feeling about the game?
Yeah, I know a danger man, Nicholas Bentner. Seriously, I mean, the man is a walking legend. I know he's not. He's terrible. But to be fair, Wolfsburg is the kind of team we should be rolling over in our sleep. And I'm with you. You know, PSV, we should have won that game. It was just unfortunate that Shaw got injured, and I think that's what threw our stride. But Wolfsburg, they don't really pose a threat. I don't think they're doing too well in Bundesliga, unless I'm mistaken, but I could be. But I think we should be rolling them over 3-0. I'm pretty confident we can do that. The way we've been playing as well, I'm pretty sure we will beat them. Yeah.
And what about you, Dim? Are you feeling confident against Wolfsburg, and who do you see as their key man?
Yeah, no, I'm very confident about the game and the group as a whole. I think, like we said, the Shaw injury just completely shocked the whole team, really. I mean, I remember putting up a tweet just at the time, just saying I couldn't even put up tweets in a proper sense that made proper sense, because it's just like we were shocked, we were upset seeing the injury to Shaw. You can't, and we don't even know him personally, so you can only imagine what the players are like. We know we're a million times better than clubs like Wolfsburg and PSV, but the one thing I suppose I am worried about is just a lot of this. I know we have players like Bastian Schweinsteiger and Rooney who do have Champions League experience, but a lot of the players like Mathieu Darmian, Blind, Herrera, even some of the main players we have in the team don't actually have a lot of Champions League experience, so that will be interesting to see how it goes. And going back to the whole main players thing, I do watch a bit of Bundesliga, but I haven't seen much, and I would be talking out of my you-know-what if I said I did, so...
Yeah, and people in the comment section saying about Lord Bentner, I forgot they had Bentner as their striker, so we clearly have nothing to worry about, famous last word. But anyway, yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. But just one thing to say, Mark wasn't here today, sorry about that. He's meeting with TalkSport in London for something with the show, so tune in for that. And also be sure to vote for Martin, who is just taking a brief hiatus while his baby's being born, in the Football Fan Awards. And also be sure, if you like the United stand, to also vote for us in the Football Fan Awards. Mark will tweet out the link from the official United Stand account, and Martin, which is MUFC_social, will be tweeting out his link straight after this, and I think it might already be up. So you just simply copy and paste the thing that he's said and what Mark said into your tweet, and just tweet it out, and then it counts as a vote. So thanks for watching, guys. Sorry about the problems halfway through. I really need to go sort this out now. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Come on, United.